Hello everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Space Engine. Well, it's not awfully special, but it is the 50th episode. So I'm going to probably just make it a bit longer. I don't know. Probably have a party. I think the 100th episode would probably be more exciting. You know, 100 episodes is always great. But at any rate, I'll make this a little bit longer than the usual episodes, and we'll have more time to talk about fun things and exciting things. And I'm going to quickly leave the galaxy doing this while I talk. And actually, I'm just kidding. We're gonna get right into it. Um, I was asked to go to. I forgot what it was, like the Great Wall of something, if it even actually exists in the game, because I cannot guarantee that everything exists in the game. Nope. But he said like I don't think if it was like if you met, I wonder if he meant like the galactic, the local galactic cluster. Cause like there is a it's called like the Great Wall, but it's a large group of galaxies that forms this long, big, dense area of galactic awesomeness. And our galaxy happens to be a part of it. However, I don't think it's represented here properly. Well, actually, it might be. It could be that. I'm not entirely sure, actually. I don't. A lot of my astronomy research doesn't actually leave the galaxy. I'm not gonna lie. However, I do know that galaxies tend to clump in these long, stringy kind of patterns that kind of it makes them kind of look like neurons. It's really cool, and they don't really know why it does that. They suspect it might be dark matter clumping, or the idea that our universe, that our universe is, I guess you can call it bubbly, kind of like soap suds, and the galaxies form on the outside of these intergalactic soap suds. They don't, like, again, not sure what they're made of, either dark matter halos or something exotic matter, a repulsive force, who knows? However, he mentioned that he thinks it was the biggest thing in the universe. However, I'd like to point out that the universe is the biggest thing in the universe. But if we're talking about single structures, I think Laniakea is currently the biggest thing known in the universe. It's the supercluster that encompasses our supercluster, and it's not rendered here because of reasons. But we're gonna head back to home because home is where the heart is. Well, it's the Large Magellanic Cloud, not really home. Our home is right there. Beautiful. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, I do more planetary stuff. I don't do a lot of galactic stuff. Although I do like looking at galaxies. The Andromeda Galaxy is quite fun to look at via telescope. You can actually look at it with binoculars. It looks kind of like a fuzzy patch. It depends on where you are. If you're like in a really dark area, you can get some really nice clear shots of it. But to get like the photorealistic stuff, you need to do like a telescope with a mount that moves on a timer, like a computer mount, and do a long exposure using different filters that you can then compile, and then you can see it. Although I suspect that if excuse me, you were able to do like a long exposure that lasted like, I don't know, days and days and days, you could probably see the actual color. But which they actually they do that sometimes. They'll watch a star for a night and then wait for the next night, and then they'll watch it again, and they just keep doing that and compile the pictures on top of each other. But usually, oh, there we go. Usually they just use multiple shots that are long exposures, and they put filters over it to give the actual like the colors you see are the colors that the galaxy are made of, but we can't really see them as is, so they have to filter them so you can actually see them without having to take ludicrous amounts of exposure time. Astronomy is a lot of fun, and this is a really interesting looking planet. My God, what's its story? Whatever life exists here, it exists here, and it's exotic, so it's not carbon based. And looking at this glorious planet, I can see why. Its atmosphere is like what, entirely nitrogen? Brutal. Well, I mean, you wouldn't suffer if you landed on the planet. I mean, like you'd like take off your helmet, and you wouldn't feel anything. You wouldn't feel pain. You wouldn't feel suffocation. You would just take 1 or 2 breaths, and then you'd pass out and die. But you'd feel no pain doing it. That's really horrible. I'm sorry. But no, nitrogen actually. This is a really morbid topic, but it's interesting in its own kind of weird way. For creatures like us that breathe the oxygen, and we use carbon dioxide to regulate our breathing, nitrogen actually can asphyxiate us without causing any panic or any panic, fear, or pain. It's like if you are asphyxiated with carbon dioxide, the brain usually responds with panic and fear, whereas with nitrogen, you don't feel it at all. You just fall asleep and then die. And they actually use nitrogen in some like farms, whatever, where they have to euthanize animals. They'll use nitrogen because it's incredibly humane. Because sure, the animal dies, but again, they feel no pain, they feel no fear. They're completely clueless because like seriously, like our brains don't even register what's going on because like nitrogen isn't poisonous. It's inert, really. Well, it's not actually inert. But it's not poisonous to us. So when we breathe it in, our body doesn't respond to it as a poison because it's just not. It's like we evolved in a nitrogen-rich atmosphere. But again, it's an oxygen displacer. So if it displaces all the oxygen, then you're not getting any oxygen out of it. So you're breathing and you feel fine, but you're not getting any oxygen. So your brain just turns off. It's also been considered to be used for capital punishment, but that is morbid, so we're not going to get into that. Anyways, what an interesting, pretty little planet. It kind of looks like a wall in a daycare when you get out the finger paints. Finger paints are great. I generally don't like children because they're annoying, but I'm actually good with children because they seem to like me for whatever reason. But I always say I do enjoy like seeing kids drawing or painting or whatever because it's like pure creativity. It's like the few times I've ever been asked to babysit, I usually just like give them a box of pencil crayons and a stack of paper, and it's like, here, have fun. And they're quiet and entertained for hours. And then I usually start drawing too because it's entertaining, and well, who doesn't like drawing, seriously? But this planet, it's quite pretty. I like it. This is a good stop. I'm enjoying this. It has a moon too. Let's go to its moon. There's something in my throat. I don't know what it is. God, it's been, well, it might be hay fever. I'm not exactly sure. The weather's been really weird this past week. It's been nothing but like thunder showers, like on and off every day, which has been somewhat good for my plants outside because I haven't had to go out and water them. But we had hail yesterday, but it was like pea-sized hail. It wasn't anything too severe. My potato plants fared really well. Some of the larger leaves have little holes in them now, but the plants themselves have done really well and they bounced back quite well. Actually, it was funny because one of the leaves was like one of the plants was showing. It was kind of like blight, but I know it wasn't blight. Well, yeah, and it turned out to like the biggest or the not biggest, the best theory was like a potassium deficiency, and it's weird because like I have 6 potatoes, 6 potato plants growing. And they're like different species. I have 2 Russian blue potatoes, 1 red skin potato, a yellow skin, or 2 yellow skins. I don't know, I forget. I kind of forget, but I have different species growing. And it was and like the reds showed a little bit of it, but it was mostly the Russian blues that showed a lot of the leaf issues. So assuming it was potassium, I would just gather up banana peels from the compost area, and I just bury them right underneath the plant, like in amongst the roots and the baby potatoes. And then after a week or so, the plants have really started to bounce back. So I suspect that it was just a potassium deficiency. I have to give my mother credit because she does plants more. Like she's been gardening forever and she's amazing at plants. And she was actually the one that suggested potassium deficiency, and it turns out she was right. So full credit there because I didn't really know what was going on. Because I love plants, but I've never grown potatoes before, so I was really confused. I love plants. I have a pot of like bee-friendly flowers because I love bees. Bees are great. My cat has this really bad habit of touching bees because she's stupid. These are organic, abiotic, and they're mostly marine. So this is a little more down to earth. atmosphere, we have carbon dioxide, oxygen, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen. That actually sounds remarkably like the atmosphere from Avatar. You know, Pandora. Anyways, I don't remember, like, that movie, it was... I don't really remember a lot from it. I remember, like, the whole story and a lot of the CGI, but in terms of details, I don't really remember a whole lot, because it wasn't terribly memorable beyond the effects. But I do remember that the planet was... The reason why humans had to wear gas masks was because it had more oxygen and it was thicker, but it had, like... It was either sulfur dioxide, or it was, that other sulfur compound. It's found in eggs. Sulfur... Ooh. One second ago. It was one of those. I think it... Actually, no, I don't remember. Well, let's check something. I love how I can tab out of the game while I'm recording, and it just looks the exact same. At least to you guys, you don't see what I'm looking at. I'm on the wiki right now. I was gonna cut out again, but it's like, screw it. Actually, wait, the pressure is 0.9 atmospheres? No, that's the surface pressure. The atmospheric density is 1.2. There we go. It is comprised of hydrogen sulfide. There we go. It was oxygen, carbon dioxide, xenon, methane, and hydrogen sulfide. Why is there a picture of Sulu from the new Star Trek with a Pikachu next to him? These ads make absolutely no sense. Anyways, back to the game. Oh, what did I do? I broke something. Yeah, whatever. Well, what's that? Warm asteroid, sure. Whoop. I actually hope they find some planets around Alpha Centauri. I think at last glance, there's some indications that there are planets around Alpha Centauri, at least one of the stars. I think probably Beta Centauri, or Alpha Centauri B, I should say. But I'm not sure if they've been confirmed, and if they are there, they're probably gas giants. But again, I've always been a big proponent of moons being probably our best bet for finding life. It's like, although Earth is great and it's wonderful, there are a lot more gas giants than there are terrestrial planets we're finding. Of course, that's just because gas giants are easier to find, so our sample size is a little bit skewed. But we're finding more gas giants, and we found quite a few gas giants that are within the habitable zone. And if these gas giants have planets, or moons I should say, around them that are Earth-like, you could potentially get a habitable planet. Kind of like Pandora from Avatar, it was a moon of a large planet, and it had issues with the radiation belts, which would kill people. Funny how that works. I just kind of like on Europa, the moon. There could be life there. I'm hoping there is, and if there is, it's actually pretty damn safe, because despite surface radiation being really, really, really high, I'm talking like, you know, like when people talk about how the moon landing was faked and how about going through radiation belts would kill you? Yeah, it's kind of like that level of kill you, where, like, you know, if you step outside on the surface of Europa in just a normal spacesuit, you would probably die in a few minutes, or at least get really, really sick. Actually, it depends on where it is in its orbit. Io is actually worse. Io is like right smack dab in the middle, and you would die pretty damn fast on the surface. But under the ice, again, there's kilometers of ice, and then all the water too. It's like any life forms that even just live underneath, like just underneath the ice, the radiation levels down there are going to be pretty low actually, because again, ice and water block radiation very well, especially particle radiation, like what you'll find in the radiation belts. And that's not to say anything about life that lives on the actual seafloor of Europa. So we're looking at abiogenic, alright. Like the seafloor itself is, not only is it under a few kilometers of ice, the ocean itself is thought to be at least 100 kilometers deep. And for some context, the Challenger Deep, which is the deepest point on Earth that we know of, in the Marianas Trench, it's about 7 kilometers deep at the base. So the place where James Cameron went, that's 7 kilometers, and that's the deepest point in the Earth's oceans. And then you look at Europa, where it has an ocean potentially 100 kilometers deep, and it's just like, oi. Like that, like if you look at a map, okay, look at a map, and like look at, two cities, whatever, and look for a point, like a city or a town, that's 100 kilometers or 60 odd miles away from where you are, and then calculate how long it is to drive between those 2 points, traveling really, really fast, mind you, and that'll give you an idea of how long it would take to sink at a slow level down to the seafloor in Europa. I'm talking potentially days of descent. And this is actually quite important to me because I've recently been doing. Well, I won't say it's recently. It's been going on for a while, but I've mentioned before that I've done some research papers for Objective Europa. It's like a crowd researched website that wants to like potentially send a mission to Europa. Anyways, and I was recently been working on an old idea that I had years and years ago when I was like a dumb child that I had a lot of obscure ideas, and the idea actually wasn't stupid, so I decided to go back and make it more professional. I basically had this idea where it's like, what if you made a submarine that was completely filled with like water or some shit, and it would make it incompressible. Now, water is a really bad idea because it will, oxidize. It'll aid in the oxidization and shorting of electronics. But you can use other liquids like mineral oil or silicon oil, and even organic liquids. But for my idea, I'm not going to use an organic fluid for contamination's sake. But I had this idea for. I'm kind of tenuatively calling it a. Actually, let's go back to this. Let's go to Jupiter. Or actually, let's go straight to Europa. I'm tenuatively calling it tenuatively. There we go. Calling it a like a dead drop descent thing. I don't know. I have it written down somewhere. It's a really stupid name, but all it is basically a cylindrical device that is completely full with a fluid. Like I'm talking mineral oil is the one I usually talk about when I'm working on it. And then you have a pressure compensator, which is either a piston or even just like a flexible hose that connects to the inside and then kind of loops to the outside. And it basically makes sure that the pressure on the outside is equal, or the pressure on the inside is equal to the pressure on the outside, so it doesn't implode. And this is stuff this is stuff that's used on current like ROVs and submarines and stuff for like lighting and whatnot, because you can fill lights and stuff with this without it causing problems, but you can't fill the cabin because humans can't breathe with silicone oil unless you're in the world of James Cameron's Abyss, where they have that spacesuit underwater thing that fills with fluid. Really cool, by the way. I actually enjoy that movie. Anyways, and basically it would just be a dead drop probe that would be filled with a fluid, and it would be incompressible. However, I had a lot of problems with it because it would require absolutely no air spaces. So a lot of the electronics would work fine for the most part, but things like some equipment, and especially a camera, if there ever was one, I was having issues with that because you can't really fill a compound camera with silicone oil because it ruins the optics and the camera can't really focus and move, and it basically breaks it unless you have a very specialized camera. And it also is, it's not. It just seems like a really bad idea. But I've been working on an idea where I basically take the photo sensor, not photo multiplier, but it's like the sensor that's from like a digital type camera, and you have that on a plate, and then in front of the plate you have a lens that has a flat back and then a curved front, and the flat back is aiming inside of the vehicle, and the curved front is facing outside, and basically all it would be is a very, very, very simple projection camera that would project through the lens and then onto the screen. And it would have a flat back so that the optics of the oil inside wouldn't affect the light transition between the lenses. Because if I had a normal lens, it would really screw up the optics. It's kind of like putting a scuba mask on. It's like if you open your eyes up under the water, it's blurry as hell because our eyes don't work that way. But if you put a flat, or even if you put a lens in front of your eyes that traps the air, you know, we can see again. It's kind of like that, but instead of trapping air, it's a flat piece of glass that compensates for the distortion. Anyways, and it would also be really curved on the front, kind of a fisheye glimpse. So it would be like it would probably be like black and white and not terribly good quality pictures. And well, it doesn't really matter because during the descent you won't see anything, unless there are life forms like macroscopic life forms that scurry up to it and try to kill it. In which case the camera would be great, but mostly it's for touching down on the surface, and it would see what exactly the surface looks like what the seabed is like. Like, is it just like a hard rocky surface? Ah, there we go. Or does it have silt? Like, what does it look like? You know, and if it has like a silty surface, then that shows that there's probably a lot of interaction and stuff, like breakup of rocks, maybe even life. Like it would, even if you don't see any life, just seeing silt on the ground might be a good indication of if there is organic processes going on, or at least geologic processes in which chemicals share each other between the water and the ground, because that's very important for the chemistry of life. My goodness, unicellular. It's organic. And it's local. So that's kind of what I've been working on as well. I have like a half-finished paper on it. I don't know, I always write papers on stuff, and I very rarely submit them to things because nobody really cares. Although I had somebody, when I submitted my little paper on photon sail microprobes, a fellow at UCSB actually got back to me, and we had a bit of a back and forth, and he actually thought it was interesting, but that's because he had also been working on it, and I basically just asked him for insights and pointers, because it's not my idea, it was just I was just working on, like, you know, building up from the idea. Then, you know, so I spent months trying to advocate this program, and everyone ignored me after that. And then Stephen Hawking came out and said that his groundbreaking whatchamacallits are doing the exact want to do the exact same thing, and it got all the media attention. And then I had that really sad realization, ooh, what the hell, that until I get my degree, I have no credibility, and people have the right to ignore me. Whatever. Soon. I really need to get back to my degree. Mental health has really ruined that for me. Yeah, I was actually looking. Some of my friends have been getting their bachelors this year, and it's like, if I had been able to, like, keep my schedule the way it was, I would have been getting my bachelor's this year too. But thanks to my, you know, brain problems, I haven't been able to. So basically I'm like 4 or 5 years behind where I wanted to be, and that actually contributed to a lot of my depression back in the day, because I felt that I had failed myself, because I have really high standards for myself. But no, it's fine. It's fine. It's like, again, humans live on average between 70 to 100 years. I'm only 22, so so what if I'm a few years behind on my degree? I'll get it eventually. There's actually there's actually programs in Canada where you can get accelerated bachelors. There we go. Where you can take the same course, like a degree course, but it's a year shorter. I think it's more work, which makes sense, but it's accelerated, so if you know, are pressed with time and you can do it. So I might do that. And I'm probably actually going to start doing some online classes through the local university, just to kind of help move it along, because damn, I really want to get working on my educational, I could get back into that, but the concept of sitting in a classroom right now is still terrifying. It wasn't before, but well, before I completely fell apart and collapsed, it wasn't, but whatever. The human brain is a terrible thing sometimes. The important thing is I have goals, and I keep trying to, like, get more promotion on my program, and, like, at least get someone's attention. But holy hell, it's hard. It really is. My radio telescope, when I get that finished, will actually go a long way to help with that. I think I mentioned it in my one of my Subnautica videos, but I'm building a radio telescope, it's gonna be like completely collapsible and disassemblable, so I can put it in a carrying case. But it's really cool. It's basically a what's it called? It's a long periodic antenna, but it's a dual polarized long periodic antenna, um, a zigzag configuration. So it's basically a giant pyramid shape with zigzagged um, wires going up into this long pyramid shape with a reflector on the back, and it's going to be made to. It'll theoretically be able to scan between 60 and 1800 megahertz. I wanted to do much smaller than that, but again, the lower in the hertz level you go, like the lower frequencies, the larger the radio waves. And the joy of an antenna, it's like this antenna, it's basically a dipole antenna type, and with those, to like detect the low frequencies, you need to have, or at least to get them really magnified so you can hear them better, is you need to have the antenna dipoles the same width as the actual radio wave. So, for example, if I wanted to make the antenna like a dipole antenna that could detect 5 megahertz, the antenna from end to end would be about 90 feet long, which which actually can be doable. It's basically just a long wire with a break in the middle, but still, it's ludicrous. So, like as it is, my current antenna, the base of it is gonna be the lowest end, which is about 60 megahertz or 80, I think. Even with that, the base of the antenna is going to be 5.5 feet wide. So, and this is why I'm making it collapsible, because I have no space to keep a massive antenna in my backyard. But I can make it collapsible, and then I can take it with me places. And I'm also getting a receiver for it that I can plug into a computer. So I'll do that. And it's actually all costing me very little, so that's really good, because most of my money that I got this month is going towards my my pressure suit and assorted programs, which I was actually really concerned because I ordered the pattern for my suit's inner lining, which I mentioned earlier, and I was afraid it wouldn't get here because, again, the Canada Post is doing what they do almost every year, which is, stop functioning due to not protests, but it's like a walkout or a lockout or something. I don't know. It happens every year. It's like either the postal workers are just really entitled, or whoever works at Canada Post is like a monster, because this happens all the time. Hey, what's this? It is abiogenetic subglacial, and it's organic unicellular. I enjoy the cute little rings. It's really nice. It's adorable. But yeah, but actually no, the pattern did show up. It showed up a couple days ago, so I can go get material for it and start putting that together. That's going to be exciting. But altogether, my radio telescope should only cost me about $40 altogether. Maybe 50, it depends. The most expensive part, I think, is going to be, well, the receiver, of course. And it's only like $40 or $50. I forget which. But it's it's basically a dongle that you plug into a computer. And it comes with a little antenna, but I'm just going to scrap that and hook it up directly to my antenna. And it can theoretically observe between, I think it's like 40 and 1800 megahertz. So, and it's coming from an American company this time. I usually buy stuff from China because it's cheap, but for stuff like this, like I'll just spend the extra money on one that I know will actually function. No offense to the Chinese, mind you. I've gotten a lot of stuff from Chinese companies that work really well, so it's kind of luck of the draw, really. Oh, look at these beautiful rings. Yeah, and when the antenna when I get the telescope done, it's gonna be really cool. I'll do a video of it. We can scan things. I won't be able to hear Jupiter emissions, because again, those are in the lower bandwidth between like 5 and 30 megahertz, but whatever. It will be able to scan in the hydrogen line, which is it's a frequency between like 1420 megahertz and 1660 or something like that. It's basically it's a bandwidth that is the same as the energy released when hydrogen atoms change states, like energy levels, and as a result, it's a very, very quiet band in the universe, because radio waves aren't absorbed in that bandwidth by just interstellar hydrogen, and it's one of the main frequency areas that SETI uses to look for alien transmissions because again it's the quietest, and any intelligent civilization that knows basic chemistry and physics would basically anyone who has radio technology would know that that's the best place to communicate because it would be low absorption and we went there and long distance stuff. So we can scan there. Don't plan on I don't expect to find anything, but it's still cool. Oh, damn. And I also want to look for pulsars because theoretically amateur radio astronomers can detect pulsars. From what I read, anyways, very theoretical. I'm not too hopeful, but I'll give it a shot because hey, why not? Basically, my antenna will be able to scan a number of different galactic radio sources and possibly aliens, but it can't detect Jupiter. At least not. I don't think it can. I don't know if it can. There might be some. There might be some bandwidth Jupiter gives off in the higher areas that I might be able to detect with it, but I'm not hopeful. All the fun ones are in the lower bandwidths. I can also detect meteors too, using it actually in the upper, and like kind of like the mid FM range, like in the 100 megahertz ranges. You can actually hear meteors burning up in the atmosphere because they reflect radio waves as they come in because of the ionized trails. It's really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, we're at 31 minutes. I keep coughing. It's a moon up behind it. This moon looks really familiar. It's kind of like a Europa without, well, less striations, but oh, and it's gone. Oh, there it is. Anyways, let's get the hell out of here. But yeah, that's my to-do list. Spacesuit stuff, and was I already there? I think I'm going back and forth between the same planets. Be like spacesuit stuff and radio telescope. Yeah, I was just here. What are the odds? Yeah, that's one of the cute things. Huh. Well, let's not do this again by going like this, and then we're just gonna skip over to the other side of the galaxy and look for planets there. There we go. Alright. I also wrote a book recently. Well, it isn't really a book. It's a political essay on the concept of global federalism. It's not that exciting. It's actually pretty short. It's only like 16,200 words or something like that. Something along those lines. So it's not terribly long, like 58 pages. It's available as an ebook only because I wanted to make it as cheap as possible because I don't really care about making money off it. I just wanted to publish something and get it out there. It's actually really funny because it's available. It can be bought directly from Lulu, like the site, but I highly recommend against that because it's the most expensive on Lulu. It's weird. It's like on Lulu it's $1.47 or something like that, whereas everywhere else it's 99 cents. So it's like anyone who's showed interest, I'm always like, yeah, don't buy it off Lulu. Buy it off of like Amazon or Kobo, or I think it's on iBook. Actually, it's weird because like it's the most expensive on Lulu, and I also get the least amount of revenues from it because I only get 10 cents per sale from Lulu, whereas on Amazon Kindle I get 38 cents per sale, and the book is 99 cents sold. On Kobo, I get 40 cents, and on iBook, I get 80 cents. So I get paid the most from iBook, and it's only 99 cents, but I don't like Apple, so I don't know. And I can't check to see if it's actually on iBook. It was sent to iBook, so it might be there, but since I don't really use Apple products, I can't check the iBook store. But I know for a fact it's on Amazon Kindle, and it's also on Kobo. I checked both of them, and it's there. And it might show up on Nook later, but at any rate, I was most happy with it being on Amazon because it's 99 cents on Amazon, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to make it as cheap as possible, but I couldn't make it under like $1.40, or I couldn't make it under $1.20 on Lulu. So I made it $1.40, so I at least got 10 cents, but again, I don't really care about money, I just wanted to get it out there. I'll put a link in the description if you care, but I doubt anyone will buy it. It's just a political essay, so if you're not terribly interested in politics or political essays, you might not find it interesting. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's basically a political manifesto, but it's not evil. Well, to be fair, the Communist Manifesto wasn't evil, it just was a bad idea. Mein Kampf was evil. There's just no way around that, it was just evil. I wonder if Plato's Republic constitutes as that. Not sure. Oh, where'd he go? I saw that. This is why I need to pay attention. Oh, there's one with life there. Might as well. A lot of aerial life I'm finding. What else? We've talked about Europa, space, books. I don't know. I'll let it go for 5 more minutes, then we'll stop. Oh, I'm actually, well, in, I guess, related news of what's going on in the world nowadays. Pokemon Go came out in the States, US, Australia, and New Zealand. I don't live in any of those countries, so I don't have Pokemon Go. It doesn't come out in Canada until... They don't know when it's going to come out in Canada. That's just really sad. The weird thing is, I'm not actually a huge fan of Pokemon. I've never actually... Well, the last Pokemon game that I played and beat was Pokemon Yellow, and that was about 17 years ago. I still have it, actually. I also have Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue. And I played Pokemon Gold and Silver when they first came out in 1999, or whenever it was, 2000. But I didn't actually care, so I just stopped. So, and I haven't actually played a Pokemon game since those. So seriously, so second generation Pokemon is the closest I've actually is the most recent Pokemon I've actually ever played. I have never played anything beyond that, and I've only beaten a Generation 1 game, and that was Pokemon Yellow. A lot of fun, but even despite my apparent apathy for Pokemon, I'm really looking forward to Pokemon Go, because I just want to like hoard Pokemon and walk around my neighborhood being stupid. And it also strikes me as a great way to like deal with agoraphobia shit, so it's like, it'd be fun. Here we go. Organic, unicellular, marine. Goo. I also have an idea for a video about it. It'd be great. Oh, there's that lag again. Whoa. I was talking to myself for who knows how long. I don't know. It wasn't recording. I must have clicked it some other time. Damn it. Whatever. I guess I'm gonna end it there. Whatever. I'll have to check to see how much I missed. Probably only a couple minutes, because last time I clicked the record button was during a lag spike. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This has been the 50th episode of Space Engine, or basically just me rambling around the universe talking about random bullshit. And I'm glad that some of you find me amusing. I think I'm amusing. I love myself. Life's great. Despite all of my health problems, mental and physical, I just really enjoy being alive, and you should too, because being alive is amazing, and life is amazing, and this universe is fantastic, and I'm glad that I can make videos for you people, and that you enjoy it, and I'll continue to do so, because I enjoy it. Oh, and because of you too, but... Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll be back I'll be back later for more. Yeah, my brain's breaking, so I'm gonna make some tea and make waffle fries and go to sleep. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and space.